Art has always been a large part of Paul Schiola's life. In his early childhood, he began drawing and wood carving, and later his father taught him how to paint with acrylics and oil paint. This, coupled with his lifelong, undying thirst for B movies and television shows, has kept him creating art that clearly reflects his obsessions. After 3 years of preparation, Mile High Sofubi was born. Now, 5 years later, Paul casts vinyl toys from many excellent artists from around the world. He also brings his favorite B-movie characters into vinyl forms via his brand, Sputnik Supplies, making toys he would have loved as a kid.
Welcome to the show, Paul. Thank you so much for being here. I'd love for us to just start where we always do, which is, where did your creative journey begin?
Oh, it's a great question. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I expressed interest in art as a young man. My father was awesome, and he fostered it along. He was a wannabe painter, but had 5 kids and 2 jobs, so it was really difficult for him to find time to do that. But he seemed to live vicariously through me and pushed me to paint. He taught me how to oil paint, and I was probably about 9 or 10 when I learned to oil paint. And then from there, went on to drawing and stuff. And finally, when I got into going to university, I decided to look into sculpting. And that's where a lot of my energies was focused from that point on.
I love that story. So you spend that time, and you spend those 3 years like doing all this stuff. And I bet there was guessing. There's a lot more failures than successes on doing it. In your whole creative process, what were some of the accidents or mistakes or negative things that actually started leading to positive changes? And how did you, in those 3 years, keep yourself motivated and going on when it just wasn't a magical, oh, this is how you do it? Like,
oh, great stuff. Yeah. There were a lot of trials and tribulations, a lot of failure. Really kept me going, I have to honestly say, is my wife, Barb. If it wasn't for her, there are many times I'd come in from the shop and say, hey, man, I'm done. I don't know what the heck I'm thinking I'm trying to do here. It's not working, blah, blah, blah. And she would just, sit me down, or let's be honest, she'll kick my ass and get me back on track. Barb's a great person. I love her madly. We've been married 25, 26, almost 25 years now. And just a great lady. She's super supportive of everything that I've done. And really, she's the main thing that's got me through a lot of the negatives. I mean, there were many nights I'd come in just so frustrated, I can't figure out how to do it. One of the key things was trying to figure out how to de-air the mold. You see video online where people have these great spinners, these big centrifuges that they use. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out how to make one. I tried everything. I tried a washing machine motor, which, oh my gosh, 2 weeks of splashing myself with vinyl and fighting, trying to get the bubbles out of that. I mean, it was so fed up. Finally, I gave up, and then I had to figure out what to do with this washing machine that was all trash. I got a scrap metal place come by and pick it up from me. So, oh, that was no good. And then also the mold making aspect was a big challenge too. Trying to find someone to do molds, because there's no one here in the U.S. I mean, I called for a month everywhere, all over the country, trying to find someone, even in Canada, and everyone would just give me blank stares. I talked to engineers with PhDs. I'd send them pictures of the molds, and they say, I have no idea how they make these. I was like, wow, what am I doing here, I did have contacts in China. As I said, I did pre-painted statues. I had them made in China back in the 90s. So I contacted my pre-painted statue people. I said, listen, I'm embarking on this, and is there anyone that maybe you could put me in touch with? And they were kind enough to make a few phone calls for me and then send me an email with a contact for an electronics and toy company that also would help me with my mold. And what's the coolest thing about that is it started a 4.5-year friendship with my main engineer, who doesn't work for that company anymore, but continues to do molds for me on his spare time. Because him and I just have this wonderfully forged relationship. And Ivan is his name. That's what he goes by, Ivan. That's not his true name, but Ivan's a wonderful man and helped me out a lot. It still, to this day, is great. That was a big hurdle to get over. And then sourcing the vinyl also was another thing. Vinyl, the colors. There were many big hurdles, but once we got on the first vinyl, once I figured out how to de-air those molds, and it all clicked. So then once I got the colorants and the vinyl sourced, I got my first molds back, and that was from figures from the great movie Frankenstein Meets the Space Monster, which is a must-see. James Cameron, one of his first movies, actually. I think it is his first movie. He's in it, and it's a great schlock movie, great monster, great everything. So those were my first figures that I made, and they were for myself. They came through. I have two arms. I'm Mile High Sofubi, and that's production, and then Sputnik Supplies, which I do all my retail sales to. So the figures I make for my own self are released through Sputnik Supply, and then I help everybody else out through Mile High Sofubi.
That's awesome. So a few quick things. I actually didn't. I thought you were Sputnik, but I wasn't 100% sure. And I wasn't sure if that was just someone you were collaborating with, because I know every year at DesignerCon, it's Mile High / Sputnik. So one, that's awesome that's been cleared up for me. Yeah, not at all. Not at all. I change the name of my booth every year. So I'm hearing that like really the people around you and the community support has really helped keep you going, whether that's Barb or Ivan or just other people, or your longtime customers who have been with you from the beginning. Is there any kind of maybe tips you have for other people? Because I know many creatives can feel they're alone, or they're off kind of doing their own thing by themselves, and they may or may not have a partner or friends or other creatives in their immediate circle. And so how do you think about kind of forging these relationships and building that kind of community around you that can support you when things do get really difficult?
It's paramount. Like you said, a lot of artists and creatives, you're in your head all the time, and you're working solo all the time, and it's easy to get into the weeds. Believe me, I've been there so many times in your own head. And my suggestion is you've got to get out. It's hard. A lot of us are introverts, don't like to go out, don't like to talk to folks. Force yourself to go out, go to art shows, go to see bands, just get out and see people, meet people, talk to them. It's going to help you in the long run. It's going to help you creatively. It's going to help you open your mind to different things, to different attitudes. It's very important. I know I've struggled with that my whole life, and I really have to force myself to do that. And I see the importance of it, and it pays off in the end. So that's one thing that I really highly suggest. Talk to other artists too. See where they're coming from. See where their struggles are. One of my favorite things to do is to sit down with artists and have a couple of drinks and talk about materials. My gosh, that can be so inspiring. You find out about a material somebody's using you had no idea about. Or you could throw something at them that, hey, what if you try this if they're having a problem? And then they give it a go, and you've helped them solve an issue. And we've all been at that precipice where I don't know where to go. I mean, this is giving me issues. I don't know what path to take or how to solve it. And out of the blue, something comes. The community in designer toys is wonderful and very embracing. I'm very happy to find that. Everyone's very super friendly. Like I said, some of the folks I've had, I can call out a few names. Benny from Tenacious Toys. He's been there from the very beginning with me, and it's been nothing but supportive. I mean, he was one of my very first customers. Jeff DeSantis, another gentleman that's just nothing but fantastic. Lovely man. Comes back all the time for stuff, bringing me other projects. Forging those kind of relationships. To me, I said it to Barb, I said, the best thing is when you have a customer that turns into a friend. Because then you have a lifelong relationship with this person. And it's just beautiful. Drew Toe is another person from Unaffiliated. Him and I have forged this great friendship, and I swear we can't get off the phone in under 2 hours when I talk to him. I love Drew. Both of us it's great. But yeah, gotta get out of that. It's difficult because some of us don't live in great places like California, where there's a lot of cool shows and conventions going on all the time. Up here in Colorado, there's maybe 11 of us. And we all pretty much know each other. And so that's kind of the culture that we have up here. And I envy that. It's great to go to California or go to Five Points in New York and see all the different stuff that's going on there. I love it. I just love it.
In my world, we always call it creative tension, right? The environment, and you get other people who have the same passion, and each of your passions keep rolling each other, right? And allowing you to create more stuff. I'm curious though, are there things outside the norm of the friends and the movies and all that stuff that motivate you or inspire you? What someone normally would think is a motivation or even an inspiration out of it?
Inspiration comes from everything and anything, really. I mean, it could be walk the dogs in the morning on a spring morning and you see, whoa, look at how beautiful. Gosh, that maple's sure coming in beautiful. Or look at the daffodils popping up early spring. Things like that are amazing. I love to cook. Cooking's a big inspiration for me too, in a lot of ways. It's just an extension of creativity. Cooking really is in a lot of ways. So, yeah, there's so many different aspects. Friends. I've already mentioned that, are a big inspiration. Being here just in Colorado, being so darn beautiful. I mean, gosh, you're stuck in an office building, walk out and look west and look at those hills and go, dang, in 45 minutes I could be in the mountains taking a hike, and life is great, so. Yeah, that's a lot of it there. Music's another big inspiration too. I have a very eclectic taste in music. I mean, I was a punk rocker back in, I'm not going to say when, but in the old days. And I love punk, but I'm also a big jazz guy now. I listen to almost primarily jazz. Yeah, oh, beautiful. Yeah. Jazz is America's true art form. And that's what's so cool about it. It's so cool about it. And it's inspiring. We're lucky. Here in Colorado, we have a 24/7 jazz station. Comes out of Colorado, been around for 40 years. One of the last ones in the United States. Man, we are so lucky. It's a gem up here, I'm telling you.
It's awesome to hear like all of the variety of ways that you get inspired. And I know for a lot of creatives, the business side of things can be something that a lot of people dread and are, I think, maybe intimidated by. And, you've really taken, as you've moved into being a legitimate factory for a lot of other creatives. I'd love to kind of hear your thoughts on how you're viewing business, especially because, my background is I used to run a commercial t-shirt printing company. And so I've definitely been in that position of sort of doing kind of semi-creative work for other creatives while also wanting to do my own stuff on the side. And so I just love to hear your take on what it's like running a business that works with a bunch of creatives, as well as how you're balancing doing Sputnik on the side.
Great. It's a blast working with various different kinds of artists and different styles. It is so much fun. That is a huge charge for me because I see so many neat things come across my computer. It's like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. What a brilliant idea. That helps a lot. It's a very technical business. There's so many technical aspects to making a toy. You almost think it'd be a joy kill. But what's fun is that once we get behind the technical stuff, the molds are done and all the technical stuff is done, then we get to play with the vinyl, what we can do. And that's very creative to me. That helps me balance the technical end and the engineering aspect that really intrigues me, but also gives me the creative aspect without taking anything away from the artist, the original artist, because I don't want to do that. I want to enhance a piece. And what's fun is when I can work with people and they'll have a specific, perhaps, colorway they want to go. And then I say, hey, let's think about this a second. Instead of going with just that specific color, let's do a double pour. Like it has a lot of cool texture. And then that just makes everything pop and it comes to life. And then they're ecstatic, I'm ecstatic, and then the person who gets the toy is even more happier. So that's just a beautiful symbiosis for everybody. That's the fun part. What's also kind of cool with me is that I see what a lot of people make. And it's so neat to see stuff that's not made for movies. A lot of it doesn't come from movies. It comes from people's wonderful imaginations. And that just intrigues me beyond belief. I've dipped my hand in a few of the toys that I've made that were just original things, little silly things that come to me that I sculpt out. To be honest, I neglect my sculpting a little more than I should. I need to put more time into that. And the coming year, I'm going to do that. And it's easy to do. You get wrapped up in a business and it can consume your life. You have to know when to walk away. You have to know when to shut off that phone and close that computer. Just walk out the door. And that's what I'm learning. It's a hard lesson.
One thing I want to touch on, Paul, too, is because I feel like prior to you really coming on the scene, I felt like there wasn't a lot of vinyl marbling going on. And then I've been seeing tons of cool vinyl marbling. And almost every time I'm like, oh, like who's making the toy? And I find out it's you. And so like, was that an intentional kind of like differentiator for you when you were, kind of starting the company of like trying to be more creative, doing double pours? And I mean, I've seen stuff like what look like quadruple pours and stuff like that in terms of the marbling of the vinyl. Is that something that you did sort of intentionally, or is that something that happened organically? Can you tell me a little bit just about how that came about?
Yeah, it was really kind of a Bob Ross moment. It was a happy accident initially. That's how I got it. I mean, it really was a happy accident. And I looked at it. What happened is this. I had two molds on the bench. Being sloppy, I slopped them in there and didn't realize into the other mold. Went to put in the correct color and went through the process. And when I pulled it out, I was like, oh, well, this is wrong, but boy, that looks cool, So I started to try to push it a little more. So yeah, I did. Then I did focus a lot on that, put a lot of energy into that, trying to find out how I can make the most intriguing pulls that are colorful but still work. Key is the balance between the design and not detract from the design, but to enhance the design. And yeah, it was kind of a thing that I really got into, and I still am into it. I love to do it. I love to be challenged. A few of my customers, when they give me colorways, they'll give me a specific number, and then they'll say dealer's choice. That pretty much turns me loose in the shop to marble however I want with whatever colors I want. And boy, the stuff that comes out of that is just, it's mind-blowing. Completely one-offs. It's hard to duplicate some of the stuff that I've done, and people have asked me to, and it's been very difficult to do it because they're so unique. And sometimes it's like, what colors did I use? I don't even remember. That's years ago, you know? So I got to pound my head against the wall. I guess I should be taking pictures of this stuff, and I'm not. So
I only feel slightly bad that I have a standing order with you that's like all Marvel stuff. So I'm all...
Honestly, I almost kicked myself in the pants because it was like, I just want to do a bunch of really cool stuff for Rick because he waited so damn long, and I'm cranking, and then you're like, oh, I like this one. I'm like, oh, shit. Like that magenta. I felt so stupid. I'm looking at it, and then I thought, you did the wrong magenta, you fool, because I'm going off of a photograph, right? My bad.
Yeah. I was just so stoked because I was like, this wasn't the color, but I love these, and I'm going to do a whole run with these. So those are coming. If you were at DesignerCon, you would have seen some of those. But I don't want to distract us too much. Over to you, Chris.
Distract, because I'm loving it. I love that you're talking about the challenges and the happy accidents, and which is, everything in a creative moment, right? You try to go left and it forced you right, and you ended up with this, and you're like, oh my God, this is awesome. But I find in a lot of young people, and some people are listening, like, how do you start embracing the challenge? How do you learn to use the negative, or you're trying to do X and it ended up as a 24, and to start embracing that and playing with that? Can you talk through how you've learned to do that and how you got to that place?
The thing you have to accept, and I think it's about life in general, is that you're going to fall down a lot. And it's not a point, you don't focus on the falling down, you focus on the getting back up and going back at it. You got to keep swinging. And that's the hardest thing to do sometimes, when you just want to say, oh, screw it, man, I'm done. Creatively, it can be very difficult. Well, that is a tough question, Chris.
That's what I'm known for.
You're good. That's good, Dan. Yeah. I'm really trying to think to get my hands around this for you so I can give you a solid answer.
See, but I don't expect a solid answer. That's the beauty of kind of the question and the accidents, right?
Okay. I like that. Yeah. All right. To the point. First thing I think anyone has to realize being a creative is that you're going to make mistakes, and you're not going to get your exact outcome. It's going to take a long time to get to point A to point B. These are skills that need to be honed, and you have to do a lot of training. It's just like you're not going to walk into a martial arts studio and be a white belt day one, and by the end of the week, you're not going to be a black belt. You have to go through a lot of trials and tribulations and hard work and sweat and bruises, and until you get to the point where you hone your skills so that you can actually get what you want at the end of the day. And that's a hard thing to do. It's a very difficult thing. I think I'm a little bit older than most folks that go to DCON, so I've had a few years behind me, a lot more bruises and scars to show you guys. So it's like I've been there, and that's what I've learned in my life, is that the hits keep coming, but you got to keep taking them, and you got to keep fighting. That's the best thing you can do.
It's like you were talking about, oh my God, I put that together, I screwed up, but oh my God, that looks good, right?
Yeah.
Instead of trying to control it, you're embracing it.
And that's another aspect of it. You have to know when you aren't in control anymore. You kind of have to let it have its own life. It's got to breathe on its own, become itself. And that comes with time. That comes with experience. That comes with time.
I think what I'm hearing from you, Paul, is that with experience comes a level of discernment around one's craft, whether that's martial arts or painting or sculpting or making centrifuges or getting air out of molds. And I know that can be like a frustrating thing to hear. I remember when I was first starting, people were just like, oh, it's just going to take time. And I'm like, no, you fools, I want it now, though. And but the answer really, as I've aged, I've realized, oh, the answer really is time. But Would there be any other advice that you would want to give to aspiring creatives out there?
If you're a painter, learn to sculpt. If you're a sculptor, learn to paint. If you're a painter, learn to be a printmaker. There's so much it's gonna enhance what you can do and the view of what you do and your output amazingly. It's sculpting will help you draw better. Drawing will help you sculpt better. They all work together. My suggestion is to dip your hands into every aspect that's out there. Do a linoleum cut. Do a paper mache. Make yourself a pinata. Do something to break out of that mold. I think that's one of the main things to do. And keep swinging until you hit the canvas. That's the best thing that I can say. Because it's a tough world. I mean, I've been an artist for excuse me, for many years, and I've had my own gallery, and I've been in gallery shows, and it's a tough life. It's a tough life, but keep swinging, man. It's the most fulfilling thing you're ever going to do.
I'm going to go back to some of the business stuff because you also have the business owner technical. A lot of that fits to probably how when you were setting up your business and getting it started and moving along, the same creative aspect that people just think as, painting or sculpting fit to in what you were doing in the business, creating the business that you have now. Are there enough parallels in the business side of it as well as the creative? Is a better way to ask the question.
In this specific business, yes.
If you're an accountant, that's a whole different thing. Yes.
Yeah. If I was making sandwiches, it'd be another world. Well, maybe not. I enjoy eating and cooking. So, but yeah, like I said, it's a good balance between creativity and engineering side and this.
The technical and everything else. There is there. Can we agree there's a creative element to it?
Yes, absolutely, there is.
What I was hearing before and you talking, when you figure out that technical part, the creative of it is complete. There's no more creative challenge next with the technical part once you've solved that technical problem.
Disagree.
Makes sense. Aha, good. Why?
Oh my word! Many different.
I set you up, Paul. I set you up.
Yeah, there's so many different elements. I mean, let's just take a specific technical aspect. I have to work with vacuum pumps, so I have to understand what the different types of vacuum pumps that I use do, how they operate, how they function, and how to troubleshoot them when they don't work, or if I start failing on vacuum, or if vacuum's not to the point where I need it to be. I got to know what to do. So you're always troubleshooting constantly, and that's what an artist is. It's a troubleshooter. You're looking at a canvas, you're looking at a sculpture, and you're thinking, how am I going to get this point across? You've got to troubleshoot it, make it work. Now it's getting colder here in Colorado. I mean, it's my word, guys. It's cold today. It's 30. Didn't get above 32 today. That's warm. And so I have to think about temperature and how temperature works with the vinyl that I'm using. It cools down quicker. It makes the pulls a little more difficult. So there's things I have to factor in on everything that I do. Another good example would be when someone wants glitter in their vinyl. You have to know when there's too much glitter. Because that one bit me. It bit me bad. So I learned you can't add too much glitter. It's possible. That's how you work on it. There's always something different. There's always something fun. And there's always different things that you can do. Kind of go back to what Rick was saying about the marbles and the double pours. So much you can do with those. So always a challenge. And different designs are challenging too. That's the other thing. Every design is a challenge.
What I'm hearing, Paul, is even though you have a technical mastery or you've solved a problem, there's still, due to the variations and like the new colorways or different pigment loads in a vinyl or the temperature, there's always so many things going on that it's still kind of keeping you on your toes and able to play, and like having to be sort of like just like having to be aware of what you're doing and be present, as opposed to being like, oh, I've done this a million times, I'm on autopilot. There's that creativity in the constant troubleshooting. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's absolutely correct. Yeah. The thing is, worst thing you can do is get too darn cocky, because it's going to bite you right on the rear. And it has. It has. I got the scars to show it, guys.
I'm sure with you being in a factory, it's like literally scars to show, not the metaphorical, oh, this is my poor soul. It's like, oh, this is when I totally burned myself because I wasn't paying attention and vinyl is hot. So.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I can tell you some horror stories. I was glad I was a Boy Scout. I knew it was the first day. Thank goodness. Me and Johnson, we're like this. We're like partners. I own stock in Johnson & Johnson.
There's literally blood, sweat, and tears in your toys, everyone. Like
right.
literally.
That's right, Rick. Literally, yes.
Am I going or you going, Rick? I wanted to have a whole different kind of conversation with you about, you were talking about movies and your favorite movies. And by the way, I love Frankenstein Meets the Spaceman, especially because the title's so misleading. It's a fabulous movie.
Oh, yeah. Who doesn't love a planet who needs men or women, depending on what kind of sex it is?
Yes. Oh my God. And every planet you ended up on, there was no men and all these women walking around like Zsa Zsa Gabor. Anyway.
Yeah. Queen of outer space, baby. Yeah.
You could tell who was making movies back in the 50s, right? You're just like, I wonder if there's a lot of female executives greenlighting this stuff. Likely no.
But I present to you a person named Doris Wishman, who made, I believe one of her famous titles was Nude on the Moon. She made a lot of nudie movies, and she was great, And then the famous Bunny Yeager, who took all the Betty Page photos, some of the best Betty Page.
Bunny Yeager is one of my inspirations, and I have nothing to do with photography. Sorry, Paul. And especially when you go, like, her first model was herself, and this is before there's instant cameras. Like, she had to set everything up, take a picture, and wait how long, right? I would love to know how she got from doing herself to Betty Page. Right? Like that whole process, because there was, and her stuff's gorgeous. Just
it's beautiful.
Gorgeous. The contrast is just,
It rivals Russ Meyer still photography. It totally rivals that. I mean, and Meyer's had an eye like nobody in the world. I mean, subject matter aside, the man could photograph, a piece of cheese and make it look beautiful. I mean,
The best Playboy, Bunny Yeager is the best Playboy photographer ever. And everyone who came up would tell you, I'm nobody compared to her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Without a doubt. Rabbit hole time again.
So mine is Ray Harryhausen, and I say this every time we have a show. Like, Ray Harryhausen's my guy, right? That my parents taking me to the drive-in to watching it, and me begging, and just watching these movies that were just magical. And today they're still magical to me. And then I sit there when they're done going, oh, I'm useless, I'm no good, right? I'm curious, you were listing movies, I'm 50 some plus years old. So, and you were listing those movies. If you had to pick two, I'll get two of your favorites. And what about them is that inspiration that makes you go, oh, like we were talking with Bunny Yeager and everything else?
Oh, man, just two. Oh.
Would you rather have three?
No, that's going to make it even harder. All right. Right off the top of my head, King Kong Escapes was one of my favorites.
Amen.
Oh, cool. The Mecha Kong alone, just the design is so cool. And I'm a big Mecha G fan, original Mecha G fan, so who doesn't love him? But the Mecha Kong is so cool to me, so unique. I see Famous Monsters of Film and I go, oh my gosh, I got to see this movie, And of course, I had to be in my 20s before I actually got to see the darn thing. But that movie was very impressive. Man, The Tingler, William Castle. Oh my God. Anything William Castle touches, I love. The Tingler is the only movie that ever gave me a nightmare in my whole life. And I saw it as a kid on a black and white TV, and I didn't even see the color scene. It was the color scene where the hand comes out of the blood in the bathtub. That was in black and white when I saw it. That gave me a nightmare. I didn't see it in color until it came out on video. And then I finally saw it and thought, oh my God, I'm glad I didn't see that. That'll really give me nightmares. I mean, oh my word. Those two, yeah. Because just William Castle, the creativity, the Emergo, the Percepto, I mean, all that fun stuff. And he knew what the audiences wanted. He didn't treat them like idiots. He wanted them to have fun. And that's what it was all about, was having fun, getting it out of your head. Beautiful. Those are just two. I mean, I could sit you, we could.
Oh, you and I are going to become buddies this weekend and talk.
Awesome. Yeah. We could talk movies all weekend.
Is Tingler the one where he would put the electric on the seat and then I'll let Rick
The
take
buzzers on the seats. Yeah, yeah.
He put the buzzers on the seats. Yeah.
Yeah. Great one. Great.
Bringing it back. I love it. This has been awesome, Paul. And I appreciate you and Chris riffing on movies and going over some great classics. Where can people find more about Sputnik, more about Mile High? Where should people go to find you, my friend?
Mostly active on Instagram under Mile High Sofubi and also Sputnik_supplies. That's where you find me on those two channels. Of course, the websites, I both have a SputnikSupplies.com, MileHighSofubi.com. You can contact me there or look at what's going on there. Those are my main avenues of getting out there with folks. So,
kind of how we end the show is we give you the open mic to what would you like listeners to know? Anything or everything or...
One thing I'd like to do is just thank everyone for all their support. The folks that have come and talked to me or asked me questions or just curious about the process, I'm there for you. I'm willing to help you figure it out. Thanks for all the great people in the community and the support from them. It's been great. Nothing but love and thanks. It's really all I got to say for open mic because it's not said enough and it just needs to be said more. And people need to know that they're all important. They all matter and they all make this crazy, crazy world go round.
That was perfect, Paul. And yeah, just to reiterate to everyone else, like that is how I made my first soft vinyl toy. Was I literally approached Paul, asked him a bunch of questions, and he was so kind and generous and spent a bunch of time telling me what would work and what wouldn't work. And we went back and forth on designs and yeah, I couldn't be happier. So thank you so much, Paul, for being here. Regardless of you also being my toy manufacturer. I really appreciate your time here. And thank you so much again.
Well, thank you both. You're very welcome. And Chris and Rick was great. It was my pleasure to do this.
My pleasure, man.
I look forward to seeing you guys in a couple of days, face to face.
Thank you for joining Rick and myself on another episode of Origins, A Creative Journey, a DesignerCon production. Please like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, download and listen to us every place you get your favorite podcast. Follow us on Instagram at Origins, A Creative Journey, all one word. Drop us an email for thoughts, ideas, or maybe somebody you'd like us to interview at dconpodcast@gmail.com. And make sure you join us in Las Vegas for DesignerCon, North America's premier annual design convention. All the information can be found, including tickets, at designercon.com. Till then, enjoy your own creative journey.